Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out getgoodracing.com. I've coached hundreds of drivers from real-life racers to sim enthusiasts who experience rapid improvement after just one session. And while investing in top-notch hardware is great, imagine how much more you can elevate your experience by adding coaching to the mix. My methods are practical, aiming to break down complex concepts into easily digestible bits that are simple to understand. You can find reviews of the sessions I've conducted on the Fiverr link provided in the video description. Let's elevate your racing skills together.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the League Zero Racing Series, the premier Formula iRacing League, brought to you by Inca Salsa, coming to you live round 3, Suzuka International. As always, I'm your host, James East, accompanied by world-famous Norman King. Join me up here in the booth, and Norman, it's guaranteed to be a good one here tonight.
Yes, it is. It looks like we got some cloudy skies, which means maybe a cool track, lots of grip, fast laps.
Drivers lined up for the start of this sprint race. Ray Aguilar starting on pole, the defending champ. Jaden Calloway starting second. We've got Elia Cotti starting third. Shazi Zuhair starting fourth. Antonio Bianchi, the Italian stallion, starting fifth. Greg Brick starting sixth. AJ Brenner starting seventh. Finley Fitzsimmons starting eighth. Leo Delmas starting ninth. David Iezzi starting 10th. Nick Peterson starts 11th. Michael Fairchild starting 12th. As we cycle it on back, Zachary Bowman starting 13th. Gareth McAllister, the world-famous Aussie, starting 14th. Jacob Bramley starting 15th. Xavier Zanave, the Flying Frenchman, starting 16th. Jace Meyer starting 17th. Arturo Mayorga starting 18th. Matthew Balsell starting 19th. Derek Doppler starting 20th. Kyle Deckard starting 21st. Christian Judkins starting 22nd. And Felipe Sarkis will round out the 23-car grid here today. Norman, a lot of fast guys starting this top 5. I'm excited to see what's going to happen as we've got 12 laps to start the night off here at Suzuka.
Yes, me too. I am shocked with Fitzsimmons being back in 8th. He's got a lot of fast cars to pass here this sprint race.
Yeah, Finley must have had a rough go in qualifying. That's very uncharacteristic to see that number 16 machine starting at about the middle of the field. Really outside the top 5 is kind of unusual for Fitzsimmons. I'm excited to see what Aguilar and Callaway are going to do on this front row. They're going to be starting side by side or close to it. And the newcomer, Elia Cotti, number 23 machine, another fast British driver looking to do good. And happy to see Antonio Bianchi qualifying in the top 5 as well here today.
Yeah, in practice he was complaining about speed, so hopefully he's found it like he used to in the old days with not showing speed in practice and coming out in the race and dominating.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good start if he's able to put it up in P5 here in qualifying. Looks like everybody is on the grid, so we're just waiting for the lights to fire up here, and then we will get these drivers out on track. And while we're waiting for the grid to start, want to give a shout out to our friends and sponsors that are supporting the series. Our friends over at MSR Performance Engineering for all your vehicle performance and needs. We've got Get Good Racing, iRacing coaching on board this season, and of course our friends over at Inca Salsa making some of the best salsa that I've ever had. But please check out and support those sponsors, as it is a long grid time here, Norman, to get these guys fired off in the standing start.
Yeah, I'm very, very confused because all my timers are counting up, and we do not have any lights yet.
Oh, here we go. So we get ready for the lights to come on. Once they turn off, that's going to signal the green flag start. And we are underway, round 3, Suzuka International for the League Zero Inca Salsa Super Formula Series. And compared to races past, it looks like the start was a lot cleaner than we've had earlier this season.
Yes, it was. Looks like no incidents off the start, and we're going to file in here and see what we can do through the S's.
Yeah, good to see the two teammates, Aguilar and Callaway, just trying to hammer down as quickly as they can. They're wanting to build a gap up over Shazi Zuhair. Zuhair's already grabbed one spot early on against Cotti, and that's going to put Zuhair up into third. But I'm almost at a loss here. This is the first race in a while. We haven't seen some sort of major incident in the first couple of corners. As I say that, I see a couple drivers getting tossed around there. There is Derek Doppler. I believe Felipe Sarkis is going to be involved in a big hit. So a couple drivers tied up early on, but not the usual starting shenanigans we've seen in the past.
Yeah, it looks like Derek just had a self spin there, and everyone got around him cleanly. Luckily, he locked it down and just held his spot, and everyone got around. It looks like maybe one car did get involved with him at the end of that.
Yeah, I see Felipe Sarkis and Christian Judskin unfortunately going to retire from the sprint race, taking a tow back to pit road. We go back to a battle for 6. You've got Finley Fitzsimmons, we mentioned, didn't have the quality that he was looking for, but has gained 2 spots so far. He's got AJ Brenner and Craig Brick right behind him here, but I'm going to keep an eye out on Fitzsimmons. I think he's going to be trying to charge and take away that 1.1 second gap that Antonio Bianchi has in 5th and see if he can put himself at least in a better starting position for the feature event here today.
Yeah, he just got around AJ through Spoon as he comes into the kink. Now it's time to head down and try to run Antonio down.
Yeah, he's at a 1.4 second deficit from the Italian Stallion, Antonio Bianchi. Now, Matthew Balcells, he's going to come down pit road for an uncharacteristic stop here in the sprint, so he must have had some sort of damage. As a reminder to the fans at home, there are no scheduled stops here in the sprint race. It is start to finish green flag racing, barring any safety cars. But in the feature event, we do have that one mandatory tire change for all these drivers. As we pan over to Antonio Bianchi, and you can see Fitzsimmons starting to whittle away at that gap as Bianchi stays latched on to the top 4 drivers who are running very close here early on.
Yeah, looks like Elliott's kind of sitting back, just playing the patience game after his sweep at Monza last week. I just don't know if he's looking to just savor points here and look for a feature win, or if he just doesn't have it for him here tonight.
Yeah, he's staying glued to the back of Shazi Zuhair's number 10.
Ooh, he just got loose.
Yeah, a little bit of a wiggle there, but looks like he's going to take a dive here against Zuhair as they go side by side. Zuhair holds the faster line, and I see an off-track reported. Antonio Bianchi. Oh, no, there's car parts scattered everywhere.
Let's see what happened to him.
Little bit too much curbing. The car snaps loose and then absolutely explodes the back end against the wall. And we had another crash reported as well right after Arturo Mayorga was involved in an incident. This looks like that's going to be a corner or two past Bianchi here. But it results in Arturo taking it. So where'd he go? That was, I believe, Jacob Bramley. No, Zachary Bowman and Jake Bramley pulling over there, but... Oh, my apologies. It was not Arturo that takes a tow. It was, I misread the broadcast software. That was Bianchi taking the tow, and Zanave was also shown involved in that incident. So my apologies out there, and that is going to give Shazi Zuhair a little bit of breathing room in 3rd. Pushes Elliot Cotti up into 4th with his teammate Fitzsimmons now behind.
Yeah, it looks like Elliot battling here with, I'm not even going to try the name right now. With the number 10, it looks like that's going to build a gap with Shazi, with Ray and Jaden going to start pulling away here as they battle for the 3rd place.
Norman, in seasons past, we've seen either Aguilar or Callaway get clean air in the front of their machines and just kind of check out from the field. So I'm wondering if those two up front, just since their teammates are going to run nose to tail, I'm wondering if we're going to be seeing a battle for 3rd to kind of decide the rest of the podium here.
Yeah, we might. I've noticed that lap times are down from practice right now, which could mean that we're to midday, which is going to be a little bit warmer track, less grip. But we'll see if they can get back down into the... There we go. Now we're starting to get into the 137s, which that around the 130, the low 137s, high 136 is what they were running in practice here today.
Okay, so the track time's definitely going to play a factor in that. I'm going to get a replay queued up. We got a report that both Michael Fairchild and Craig Brick were involved in an incident that takes required for them to retire from this event, take a tow. There goes Fairchild, and I think here comes Craig Brick, who's just going to get tagged in that one. And poor Craig Brick, nowhere to go. Fairchild tried to take the tow as quickly as he could to get off the hot track, but that is going to result in 2 more drivers having to retire here. And I also see a newcomer, Derek Doppler, the number 81 machine, having a good race. He is up 5 positions and trying to track down Arturo Mayorga, the 55, who runs in 14.
Yes. He's still probably looks like 3/10 back, but we'll keep an eye on it and see if he's gaining. He was 2 seconds faster that last lap, so I don't know if he had a problem in the 55 or what, but it looks like he's a lot slower through the S's too.
Now, right as we panned, I saw Shazi Zuhair and Elliot Kati have a little bit of contact there in the battle for third. That's going to slow the pace down. And now here comes Fitzsimmons. Zuhair squeezed in between the two teammates, trying to hold on to a podium spot, defending the inside line. But I think Fitzsimmons going to try and muscle his way through here. Can't quite get the drive he was looking for. That's going to give a bit of a breakaway to Fitzsimmons' teammate, Elliot Kati, and we've got a battle for the lead as well between the two teammates. Callaway and Aguilar were going back and forth here.
Yeah, it looks like they built a good enough lead to battle a little. I wonder if Jaden was a little bit faster and asked for the pass too as their teammates. We'll have to see if this race pans out. We'll have to ask them about that.
Yeah, I think both of these guys have championships on their mind. They'd much rather keep running first and second throughout the season and then kind of settle this thing towards the end. That's going to put Elliot Kati up into third with a fairly big breakaway over Shazi Zuhair. Has built up a second. Zuhair still has Fitzsimmons in very hot pursuit, but we're just about halfway through this sprint race, and I'm despite how many drivers we've had retire early, we've had some great racing out here at Suzuka.
Yes, we have. Another thing I was thinking about with Ray and Jaden is if Jaden's faster, Ray has no issue letting him by with Jaden missing last week.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be a good opportunity for everybody to score some big points relatively early in the season. If we go a little bit further back, I see a battle for 10th shaping up. Jacob Bramley has current hard charger Kyle Deckard in hot pursuit. Deckard now running 11th, up 10 positions from where he started here tonight. So has been methodically getting through the field. And what seems to be tonight the most important thing is just keeping the car safe and underneath them.
Yes. This track is extremely fast for people who don't know the track. It's extremely fast, and you can lose the rear end very quickly through some of these fast turns.
Yeah, we've already seen several drivers losing that back end. And Norman, a couple laps prior, you talked about lap times. Looks like Callaway is going to be the first driver to dip into the 36s, a 136.85, as there goes Kyle Deckard. He's going to grab his 11th spot here against Jacob Bramley.
Yeah, and he's got about 5 seconds to Gareth, so I don't know if he'll be able to run him down with as few laps left here. But now the goal is to just build that gap up and just hold 10th now, I think, for him.
Yeah, exactly. Be able to put himself in a good position. And a reminder to the fans, the feature event, the starting order is based on your results in the sprint. So a lot of these drivers know that they're not going to be able to make massive ground with 6 laps left to go in this 12-lap sprint. But that's going to put them in a little bit better starting position for the feature and have a few less drivers to pick through by the time we're done with the 24 laps here at Suzuka and kind of maximize points before it's all said and done. And from what I'm seeing in the sprint right now, I'm wondering if the feature is going to be as much attrition-based as we're seeing in this short 12-lapper.
You would think the drivers would change their mentality going into that race and be a little bit more patient and not push as hard. But a racer's mentality is to try to go, and you have to wheel in those feelings right there early in a race and be patient. But we'll see as we get closer to the feature race.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how tonight's going to pan out. Speaking of pan out, Zuhair still has Finley Fitzsimmons breathing down his neck in the battle for fourth. Fitzsimmons' teammate Cotty has pulled away. He's about let's call it almost a 2-second advantage as Elliott sits in third, so that team's got to be happy with some points available for him as well. And Callaway stretching the gap out front as well is a full 1 second up over his teammate Ray Aguilar. And right now, it looks like Zuhair and Fitzsimmons can be two of the closest drivers we have out on track, as it looks like Jacob Bramley losing a spot there. No, gains it back. He had an off track, but they're having their own battle going on for 11th.
Yeah. Zuhair is struggling to get around this track right now. I've been watching him for a couple of laps, and he's struggling through some of these fast turns and getting off the turn, and that's where Fitzsimmons is getting his runs on him.
Yeah, a bit of a game of cat and mouse, and that's a good opportunity for all these drivers as well. When they're tucked in behind somebody, as I saw Jace Meyer push a little bit wide there, it gives them an opportunity to see where the faster drivers are making up a little bit more time, and you can kind of chase the rabbit a little bit, work on your lines and braking marks, and then continuously finding improvements. And I think that might be what's happening to Fitzsimmons here, as he's tucked right in the draft of Zuhair through the final couple of corners, and I would predict Fitzsimmons is going to try and make a move here in the next lap or so.
Yeah, I don't know what his push to pass is looking like, but he needs to get some and save it up for a straightaway. Here he goes.
Fitzsimmons on the button, going to pull his way up into fourth at number 16. That is his fourth spot gained here and sets his personal fastest lap of the race, a 137.81. Looks like Callaway, though, still holding the fastest lap of the race, a 136.85. But third place driver Elliott Kotze got down to a 136.88. So the pace definitely dropping here at the end. And I wonder if we're also seeing a little bit of push-to-pass management with 4 laps left to go. And some drivers are going to be waiting for the very end to use the magic button and set a fast lap. And other drivers are kind of picking and choosing throughout the race to use it a little bit here, a little bit there, and keep those average lap times a little bit lower.
Yeah, these guys in the top 3 with having that space, they can withstand to save a little bit of that for the final lap just to try to put down that fastest lap of the race and get that extra point.
Yeah, but we've seen championships here at League Zero separated by a point or two in the very final round of a season. So I think a lot of these guys have plenty of experience here and know that that could be an option. Here's the battle for 12th. Jace Meyer trying to fend off Derek Doppler's number 81. If Derek can make this stick, it's going to be his 8th position gain for the race. Meyer's on the outside, the orange and white. Looks like Doppler's going to squeeze through, trying to keep within the draft of Jacob Bramley sitting 11th. And look at the lap times, Norman. Callaway, a 136.751. He is ripping here at Suzuka.
Yes, he is. See if Kate can come back at him. Oh, as we go 2 wide through the chicane, we got a 4-car battle here for the 11th position, it looks like, coming in this race.
Yeah, it's Bramley about 3/4 of a second up to number 6. He's chased by Doppler, Meyer, Iezzi, all linked up nose to tail here. I think Bramley's looking in the rearview mirror a little bit and saying, all right, I want to get away from what's going on behind me, keeping himself out of the vortex of dangers. Looked like a big blink there from Derek Doppler. Hopefully he gets to reconnect, but I think Doppler might have just dropped from the session, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'm not seeing him on my screen either, so I would assume that he's dropped.
Quite a bummer for him. Oh, no! I think Doppler just reappeared, I think. Let's get folks in on David Iezzi, the number 29. So, I'm perplexed. Let's go back to Jace Meyer. No, Meyer just loses it on his own. I saw Doppler reappear in the foreground, and that is going to put David Iezzi off track. But Doppler, I was terrified that he caused that incident rejoining with the connection, but he was able to rejoin, stay tucked in behind Jacob Bramley, and thankfully was not a contributing factor to that incident.
Yeah, as we watch this battle for 11th, Doppler gets it done through the kink. You know, sometimes, though, something appearing in front of you, doesn't matter if it's 10 feet or 100 feet in front of you, can cause just a lapse of judgment at the last second, causing you to go around.
Now, you're spot on. Anything that kind of takes you out of that frame of mind you were currently sitting in can make it a little bit exciting. And we've seen it, especially in these high-strung Super Formula machines. Any minute changes throughout the corner, be it on the throttle or on the brakes, can very easily upset these cars and send it careening around. I mean, we've seen drivers run 2 inches wide than they were planning already tonight at Suzuka, and that was enough to hit the curbing just right and upset the car, and unfortunately force more and more drivers into an early retirement here.
Yes, it's a very mental game, definitely running at these speeds, keeping these cars on edge. People don't understand how much it takes you out mentally. It's why I have big respect for endurance drivers who will run these 24-hour races too.
Yeah, that's a good talking point. A lot of these guys run endurance races either with or against each other, and that those 20 or really anything longer than an hour at a time gives you ample opportunity to focus on hitting marks. And a lot of these drivers have ran the same tracks repeatedly, and gives them a little bit more ammo to come out and very consistently hit those marks. Callaway, another record-setting lap of 136.657, as now we're watching AJ Brenner, Leo Delmas linked up in 6th.
As he's looking to the outside here.
That's interesting. Fitzsimmons just set the fastest lap, sitting in 4th.
Yeah. Probably saving up that push to pass as they battle for that fastest lap here.
Yeah,
as we get closer into this race.
Every driver in the top 4 last time by, Norman, just set their fastest laps of the race.
As it looks like Jaden, I'm not sure if I'm reading this right, has a purple sector through the sector 2 and sector 3. So he's on for a fast lap here.
You said that was Callaway, Jaden?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll be keeping an eye out on that, the number 37 machine. So I'm curious. Historically, we've seen Callaway wait till very late in the race to expend all of his push to pass. Now, we do know for certain that Fitzsimmons, the number 16 machine, has used all of his allocation for the race. I see both Callaway and Aguilar first and second on the magic button. I'm curious, are we going to see even lower 36s? I mean, how much more do they have to gain here, Norman? The tires are fully up to temp. They haven't started to fall off yet. The fuel load's starting to drop as we're on the white flag lap. And
there's
Callaway,
a 135.82 by Callaway.
Callaway just absolutely crushed it. I was going to ask, is a 135 possible? But Callaway by far exceeded that.
Yeah, he ran 3 purple sectors, and the other 3 sectors were his best of the race. So
he's still on the button here, too. So I wonder if Callaway can get down to a mid-135. If not in the sprint, maybe the feature, when we're going to have a little bit lighter fuel loads at the end of this thing. But, man, Callaway's on a different level and has pulled a 2.5-second gap over his teammate Aguilar.
Yes. I don't know. In the feature, you're going to have to deal with worn tires, but you also have the mandatory tire stop. So if you take it a little bit later, you can do that.
Going to be interesting to see. Callaway, a half lap left to go here in the opening sprint race for round 3 at Suzuka, the League Zero Inca Salsa back Super Formula Series. And I'm impressed. Now, right now, Norman, we only have 15 drivers out on track, so it has definitely been a night of attrition. 8 drivers have had to retire early. And I think that's going to be 8 drivers sitting on pit road, tapping their feet, ready for a little bit of redemption here in the feature.
Yeah, and we got some fast drivers in the back of the field that are going to try to move up. You know, that's just asking for carnage, too.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Checkered flag is out. Jaden Callaway picks up the win for the night. Let's see what the lap times are.
And he improved on his fastest lap.
Man, he is going to be tough to touch in the feature if he keeps clean air. Gets down to a 135.579. Far and away the fastest lap of the race, as we're going to try and get these top 3 drivers up here to victory lane. Callaway has to be very pleased with this one. A dominant run here to start off the night. And he is absolutely thinking of championships. He was not happy with how last season went. So he wants another chance at that number 1 plate, currently owned by his teammate, Ray Aguilar. As it looks like we've got everybody here. We're going to start things off with Elliot Cotty piloting the number 23 machine. Elliot, a great run out there, a clean race car, and starting to get some more pace there towards the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, I messed up the start, then got stuck behind Zuhair for about 3 laps, but when I passed him, was catching the, 2 teammates in front. So, yeah, it was good at the end, good pace.
Conte, I got a question. What is your strategy to go after these top two guys? Definitely with Callaway putting down some really fast laps in the last 2 laps there.
Well, I mean, I've got my teammates starting alongside me now, so hopefully we can work together. I think it's going to be more about strategy than about out and out pace. So yeah,
Are you
we'll figure something out.
are y'all going to try to attack them early or be a little bit patient and try to wear them down and get them late in the race?
I think we're going to see how the race goes, really. Then, pit stops could be a big part in this. See how the tyres wear down at the start. And yeah, hopefully get a good result.
Well, Elliot,
Well,
a good. Go ahead, Norman.
I wish you luck in the feature race and go get them.
Thank you. Yeah, we will try.
Elliot, before we let you go and get ready for this feature, anybody you want to give a shout to that helps put you up here in the top 3?
Teammate Finley, obviously. Hopefully he can do some magic, come win this race.
Awesome.
And, obviously, the man himself, Salvador.
We always got to mention Salvador. Elliot, always a pleasure, buddy, and hopefully we'll have you back up here following the feature.
All right, cheers.
That was Elliot Cotti bringing it home in 3rd. Results pulled up. Up next, we're going to get our old-time friend, Mr. Ray Aguilar, join us in the 2nd place spot. Ray, welcome back. A good points night, a clean race car, and a finished sprint race for you.
Yeah, it was a good conservative effort there. I was trying to just like hold position and not do it, not make any mistakes and try to keep it tight. I got some more gas in the tank so I can go faster in the feature if I need to. And so I think we're sitting good.
Ray, was that team orders there to let your teammate by, or were you was he just faster and just sit back and just take the points that you can get?
No, we definitely we try to not take each other out. So I did lift down the straight because he had a good run on me, but I think he had more pace that time. I definitely cooked the fronts at some point during the opening part of that stint because I've got my tire temps are about 5 degrees hotter than they usually are. I've never seen them that high. So I did something to the fronts along the way, had a pretty understeery car, and it felt unstable towards the end. So I was kind of slowing down, trying to nurse it home.
So are we under team orders to go race in the feature race?
Yeah, for sure. Like we're our only order is don't hit each other. We're gonna try to not take each other out. So if one of us is clearly faster than the other, you'll definitely see that kind of play out.
Well, Ray, always a pleasure talking to you, bud. Good to have you back up here in the top 3, heading into the feature. Came into tonight with a great points move last week, moving up into 2nd. Before I let you go, get ready for the feature. Who do you want to give a shout to that helped make it happen here today?
My buddy Murph. I want to thank TGS for putting on an awesome show. We got, Norman's joining the cast here, and it feels great to have him up in the booth. And also want to thank my team, Squid Gang Racing. They kind of helped me out, get my lap sorted out this week. Got the car to the track, got the trailer unloaded. All I had to do was drink Gatorade and watch, so we're good to go.
Awesome. Best of luck out there, Ray.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
That was Ray Aguilar bringing home in 2nd. Up next, we've got Mr. Jaden Calloway join us, the number 37. Jaden, welcome back to the top spot, adding another win to the docket and whittling away at the points lead that Cotti and Aguilar currently have.
Yeah, it was a good race. I enjoyed that one. Ray and I got a pretty good start, and we were able to pull away from everyone else pretty early on. So it's a well-managed race.
Callaway with Passport Motorsports sitting 3 and 4 right behind y'all. Are y'all going to try to just kind of file in line and try to build a lead before y'all battle, or are y'all just going to go straight at it to start this feature race?
We're gonna try to build a lead early on, but I know they'll be right behind us, so we'll just have to see what happens.
Well, Elliot, always a pleasure having you back. Not Elliot, excuse me. I'm losing my mind. It's been a long day, Jaden. My apologies. I know. I will catch grief from racers and fans alike. But, Jaden, it's super cool to have you back up here in the top spot, man. I know championships are at the mine, so always good to see you finishing well and avoiding some of the heartbreak we saw last season. Before we let you go, get ready for the feature. Who do you want to give a shout to that helped make it happen here at Suzuka?
I'm gonna shout out Felipe. He's got his rig back and he's got his VR set up, so he'll be racing with us again soon.
Awesome. Jaden, best of luck out there, bud, and always a good time talking to you.
You too.
All right, Norman, that was Jaden Calloway bringing it home in the top spot. Before we roll into a brief intermission, we do have the Driver's Choice Award pulled up here. where you can vote for your favorite driver of the day. Link is also in YouTube, where you can vote for that favorite driver. So go ahead, check out the link in the description. And then after we get back from the brief intermission, we will look at the results and see where everybody's at. Welcome back, race fans. It's time to go racing the feature event, Round 3, Season 10 of the League Zero Inca Salsa Super Formula Series. As a reminder to the fans, it is going to be based on the starting order or the finishing order from the sprint race. Now, we're still trying to get that driver's vote fixed there in the bottom center of your screen. For some reason, it's not showing the up-to-date results as the votes come in, but we've got the votes behind the scenes so we can see what's going on behind. And looking forward to seeing what happens out on track here today at Suzuka.
Yeah, we've got about 2 more drivers. We're waiting to grid so we can get this feature race underway.
Yeah, excited to see it's going to be twice the laps and I think twice the action here tonight. 24 laps. We do have that mandatory tire stop available for or required for these drivers, I should more aptly say. As it looks like we're going to have all 23 drivers starting. And we are green flag racing here at Suzuka. As you see the tires light up and drivers are going to be scattering through the midfield.
Yes, Antonio with 3 positions gained off that start too.
Yeah, well, let's make it 5. Bianchi is ripping through there on the number 17 machine. He's one of several drivers that did not have the sprint result that he was looking for, and coming back out, trying to get a little bit of redemption here. Has already moved his way up into 16th. Now, Jaden Calloway up front. He's built up a very quick 6/10 advantage over his teammate Aguilar. And I'm going to be very interested to see if those two can break away that they were talking about. Elliot Cotti in 3rd. He's chased by Shazi Zuhair. I see AJ Brenner in 5th. Fitzsimmons down 2 spots.
Contact. I don't know who it was between. It looks like it was between Deckard, and I don't know who he touched.
Oh, and something catastrophic has happened up front. Zuhair, Fitzsimmons, Brenner, Delmas, all involved in a big incident as the field tries to file through. There's AJ Brenner who's going to pull over and take a tow. Let's see what happened. We're focusing on Zuhair in the number 10 machine. Does he get a little bit of help, or is he going to be the cause? Hard on the binders, and somebody ran out of talent there, Norman.
Yeah, I don't know who that was.
I wonder, let's see, was that Fitzsimmons? Oh, it was Fitzsimmons. The Brit gets into the back. Let's try and get a different angle. It looked like Fitzsimmons was just too hard on the binders and ran it up the inside line of Zuhair, and unfortunately took out several great drivers in one go. Yeah, I think Fitzsimmons just missed the mark.
What was Fitzsimmons doing back there, though? Did he get a bad start?
Yeah, he was down 2 or 3 spots from where he originally started, and I think was driving a little bit of red mist. We got a report that, unfortunately, AJ Brenner and Fitzsimmons are going to take a tow from now, and so they will be retired from this feature event. I'll be curious to see if Zuhair and Delmas try and limp it around the track here, get that machine fixed, and try and salvage a little bit of points here. But already, that's 3 fast drivers going home early.
Yeah, it looked like Fitzsimmons just didn't get off the line, and he lost 3 or 4 positions on that start of the race.
Now, Derek Doppler having a great showing. His debut here at League Zero. Had a good result in the sprint race. Has already climbed 5 spots. And was that Jacob Bramley we just saw?
It looks like he got a little wide and loose and just put it on into the wall.
Now with the number 6, you see the car shimmy, snaps loose. And a side-to-side impact. Thankfully, Bramley didn't get tossed back out onto a hot track with that one. As it looks like...
trying to get around Decker right now.
And something happened. Elliot Cotti's taking over 2nd from Aguilar.
And we had another wreck.
Oh, it's going to be McAllister and Delmas, I think. We're focusing on Leo Delmas, number 21 machine. I saw a little bit of body work. It looks like McAllister was off first. A accidental, terrible rejoin. And that's going to take out both the world-famous Aussie and the smooth-talking Frenchman, Leo Delmas. And the hits just keep coming here tonight. Uh-oh. I've got a big blink up here in the broadcast booth. Norman, you still with me?
Yes, I'm still here.
We had a massive blink up here in the broadcast booth, so even the broadcasters are having issues tonight, as there's been carnage all across both the field and in the production booth here.
It looks like Kyle got around Meyer as Antonio is looking to try to get around Meyer now to keep his tailing of Kyle.
Heading back to Antonio Bianchi, I see Derek Doppler. We were talking about how well he was running the 81. He's going to have a big off track, losing a fistful of positions here. Hopefully he can get rejoined in a safe. I think all the wheels are still on that number 81 machine, so he's going to try and get back up here in the mix, but that's going to put Peterson up into 4th, Deckard into 5th, Jace Meyer up 10 spots, and Antonio Bianchi, the Italian stallion, up 14 positions here in the feature.
Yeah, it looks like Elliott is trying to run down Jaden right now. And, well, as I say that, he loses about a 10th right there. And falling back in the clutches of Ray.
Heading back to Ray Aguilar, he's going to want to get at least a second here if he can't track down his teammate Callaway. Elliott was telling us he thinks he has the pace, but ran into a little bit of traffic during the sprint race, so I think he's going to be really pushing that number 23 machine. Callaway, again, the fastest lap of the race, a 137.46. This is where Callaway is most content. He's up front. He's got a comfortable gap, started in the top spot, and it's just clicking off laps. When Callaway gets in one of these grooves, it is almost impossible for him to be touched.
Yes, it is. But we'll see what Elliott has for him here tonight. He's trying to do something. He's right now about, what, I would say 3/10 off the pace, a little bit less than 3/10.
I'm also going to be interested to see how the tire management plays into tonight's feature event as well. And I want to pan back to this 5th place battle. It is a bit of a freight train of talent. You've got Deckard holding on to 5th, but a very hard charging Antonio Bianchi tucked in behind. And right behind Deckard and Bianchi, that is Meyer and Fairchild going side by side with Craig Brick, the number 7, trying to get a nose in. Brick's got a great view of Fairchild and Meyer still going side by side here.
Yeah, it's one of those things as a driver. Do you want to push it when you have 2 cars battling because they slow each other down? You're faster, but you got to pick your time to try to do the double overtake.
Yeah, got to keep yourself out of the old vortex of danger. Looks like Brick waited for that battle to kind of sort itself out, and now he's going to take a run against Meyer. Brick, the Inca Salsa back number 7. Meyer, the number 20 machine. Elliott Cottison in second, just sets the fastest lap of the race on 137.2. So Elliott finding some pace here early on in the feature. As let's see, does Craig Brick try and make a move under braking? Pulls up alongside Meyer, and ahead of them, Deckard and Bianchi were going side by side. So great battles all across the circuit from about 5th place back here.
Yeah, I don't even know where to watch right now. I'm struggling to keep up with all this.
Yeah, we're panning back to Deckard, the number 53 machine. Bianchi looks hungry for a great result here after a rough showing in the sprint. Looks like Bianchi backing it down just a little bit to focus on his corner exits here. But Bianchi has to be careful as well. Michael Fairchild, the number 88, he's having a great night up 10 spots. Another driver looking to pull himself a little bit further forward and try and squeeze home some great results here.
Ooh. Fairchild almost into the back of Antonio there, into the hairpin.
Yeah, that was the same move that we saw Fitzsimmons Fitzsimmons did make the contact. So seems like it's easy for drivers to go in a little bit deeper than they were expecting. And thankfully, not seeing any big moments or big incidents, I should say. We definitely had the big moment.
Yeah, I didn't. He's backed way off. I don't know how he got that car woed up in time. But I thought he was way late on the brakes and almost ran over Antonio's. Antonio looks like he's going for the pass into the chicane.
Callaway into the 136s early on. Bianchi not able to get the drive. Looked like Deckard bounced off the curbing a little bit. And if we go back to 7th, Michael Fairchild's going to take that opportunity to unwind, come down pit road for a bit of an undercut over the field, and that's going to leave Meyer and Brick linked up nose to tail. Brick tried a pass here in a turn 1 the lap prior, wasn't able to get it to stick, and seems like he's going to be content following Meyer for a little bit and maybe learning a couple things from that number 20.
Yeah, it's these guys, it's hard mentally to run, what are we at, lap 6? 6 straight laps at these paces, at these tracks, battling lap after lap. You wonder if some of these guys are starting to get mentally fatigued.
I mean, that's a great point. We just saw Callaway had a big off track there. He's going to lose just about 2.75 of a second, but Cotti and Aguilar still battling for second. They're going to slow down the pace between each other. It's not going to do them any favors in the drive to catch back up to that number 37 machine. Cotti doing a great job defending the number 23 against Aguilar, the number 1. And I'm curious to see if this is where pit strategy is going to come into play. If Aguilar thinks he has the pace, might come in for a bit of an undercut compared to that 23.
Yeah, it looks like Aguilar coming out of Spoon was a little bit too quick on the throttle, and that rear end looked like it wanted to step out on him. He was able to keep it under him, but when you do that, you're not going to get the drive off the turn as you want.
Yeah, it's slow in, fast out. So still great battles across the track. You've got Conti and Aguilar battling for second. You've got Peterson and Deckard in a battle for fourth. And Meyer and Brick having a battle for seventh. And I also see Fairchild has made his way around Xavier Zenave, the Flying Frenchman. Zenave came down on lap 3 for quite a substantial undercut, but I think Zenave was involved in an early incident. But, I mean, now he's good to go. He's got that mandatory tire stop out of the way and can keep charging forward here.
Yes. Sorry, I was distracted for a second.
Classic.
While we have this little Lufsen thing, I just got to let everyone know my hockey team just advanced in the playoffs, so I was a little bit distracted.
Fantastic, Norman. I'm going to be interested to see how this one shapes up tonight. Now, coming into tonight, Elliot Cotti was our championship leader at points, number 23 machine. He's a bit of a newcomer here at League Zero. Has about a season and a half under his belt in that 23. But it seems like every season, I've been saying it for the last almost 3 years, the talent pool just keeps getting deeper and deeper. It's been very rare. We've seen one driver just absolutely dominate with no contention. We've always had a little bit of bad luck plaguing some drivers. Other drivers kind of able to squeeze through, keep their nose clean. But now, I mean, on any given Thursday, there's 5 drivers I think have a very good chance of picking up wins here.
Oh, yes. I remember, 4 or 5 seasons ago showing up and running with some of these guys. And they're even go to the F3 car. There's no chance that I'm keeping up with these guys anymore.
Yeah, it's just gotten so incredibly deep in the talent pool. Callaway, again, the fastest lap of the race. We watched a 3-car battle for 7th. You've got Meyer, Brick, and Judkins all going at it here. Judkins having a great race at 75. Another newcomer. He is up 13 positions in the feature, and he's been able to follow along with a lot of fast and consistent drivers, able to tuck in that draft, pick up some race notes in these Super Formula machines, and do a great showing here in his debut here at League Zero.
Yeah, I got to give a big shout out to League Zero, how much it pushes everyone to improve. And these drivers they show it. I remember racing with all these guys, and I'm talking, I'm probably raced with over half this field, and it's mind-boggling how much time and practice these guys will put in just to show up and run these races.
Yeah, it's a lot of driving in the off season. I mean, Callaway puts in hours and hours of seat time each and every week to prepare for the Thursday night Premier Open Wheel Series, and it's very cool to see newcomers such as Elliot Cotti up there in the mix. I mean, you've got Callaway and Aguilar first and third, but a newcomer sitting in second, and then drivers such as Kristen Judkins, such as Derek Doppler showing up for their first race ever here at League Zero, and doing a fantastic job keeping the nose relatively clean and putting down some fast lap times against some very established racers.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Nick Peterson here tonight. He's out there. He's found him some clean air, some space in fourth, and he's just turning laps now, just trying to do what he can, and you can't dog on the guy for doing this.
Yeah, and that's sometimes a tough spot to be in for these racers when you're kind of in no man's land. I mean, Peterson's about 9 seconds back from the third-place driver, Ray Aguilar. He's about 2.5 seconds up over Kyle Deckard, so doesn't have any draft support. He's just out there on his own and has to make sure that he hits those marks. And and not have any sort of issues. And sometimes I feel like that's a little bit tougher spot to be in, I think.
I think mentally it is, because you're not chasing the rabbit, but you're also not defending. So you fall into this, what I call no man's land, where you have nothing to set your pace. So you don't really know if you're hitting your marks or not, and then the next thing you know, the guy behind you starts gaining on you, and you start pushing in the wrong part of the track, and it can end disastrously.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to be very mindful not to make any mistakes, and this has definitely been a bit of an attrition night here at Suzuka for those drivers that were having problems early on or having a bit of a second chance of it here, able to come back out and avoid any incidents and just focus on putting down a good lap. And it's interesting to see Cotti and Aguilar staying linked up here nose to tail. It looks like Aguilar had the pace to catch back up. As somebody said, the times froze. It looks like it got corrected there. So thank you to the viewers. Let me know that there might be something going on here. And it's good to see it. We've also got Ryan Tebow in the spectator area as well, Norman. Not able to come out this season, but says in the future he'll be rejoining us. So excited to see that as well, to see drivers such as Ryan Tebow rejoining.
Yeah, another driver that I remember from the early seasons of League Zero. And like I said, just they all left me in the dust when it came to skill sets in this league. And if you're out there looking for a league to grow your skills, this is a great league to get into. Every driver here tries to help every other driver get faster and better. And just the camaraderie that you get from this league is amazing.
Yeah, it's a big dysfunctional family on and off the track. Looks like we still have 16 of those drivers, let's make it 17, still out on track circulating, 16 of which are on the lead lap. But everybody in the top 12 has yet to pit here. So I'm wondering, I think it's going to open up around lap 12. Historically, we've seen some drivers boxing right around that halfway mark. But it looks like, for the most part, I'm expecting a lot of these drivers to really run this thing out further on and try and minimize the time they spent on these cold new tires.
Yeah, and from what I was hearing in practice, it looks like last week we had a fuel issue. Some of the drivers are struggling to make it to the end of this race, or the race at Monza. This week it sounds like all the drivers say they have plenty of fuel to push through this whole race. So if that plays out, I think we'll start seeing some really fast laps here, as Elliott looks like he got a little far out on the track. See if Ray can capitalize through the S's here.
Yeah, I mean, Aguilar's staying right here with him. I wonder if Aguilar's just trying to keep Elliott within distance here, striking distance, and then going to try and make something happen on pit road. Now, it looks like Jace Meyer is going to come down pit road, and we had another incident reported. It looks like it's going to be Michael Fairchild involved, and I believe it may be, I was going to say it might be a single car incident, but he's got somebody right in tow here with him, and oh, yep, there's a little bit of contact and a little bit of netcode helps that one out, I think, as I think that was Xavier no, it wasn't Xavier Zanave. Was that was Derek Doppler tied up in that one?
Yeah, I couldn't tell from the replay what fully happened, if Fairchild drifted out on him or if he tried to cut down on him. That's a tough turn to go too wide in. It's very fast, as that spoon that we were looking at, and you got to carry speed to get the run down the straightaway into the kink.
Aguilar staying right here within 0.2 of Elliott. The race leader, Jaden Calloway, he's kind of checked out here. 3.9 seconds up over the rest of the field. And referencing the track map, the bottom right-hand corner, you see the red number 1 of Calloway. That's where he's out on the circuit. It looks like clean air ahead for Calloway for quite a while. It gets down to the low 136s. During the sprint, we saw Calloway get down to a mid to high 135 second lap time. I'm curious to see. We're at the halfway mark. Jaden's been displayed the cross green and white flag, signaling the halfway mark. I wonder, as the fuel load starts to decrease, if Callaway is going to try and put down a heater of a lap time before he has to swap those tires out.
Yeah, I would assume, and this is an assumption, that he will maybe put down a heater, but I think if he takes a late pit stop with a little bit fresher tires there towards the end of the race, he'll be able to put down a real fast lap. We might see the low 135s here, as Ray had a small lockup in through the hairpin.
Yeah, a bit of an uncharacteristic mistake there from Aguilar. We see a few drivers down pit road. Kyle Deckard, Matthew Balcells, Arturo Mayorga all coming down pit road. So the fuel window is open for these drivers. Excuse me, the tire window, because we will not be refueling these Super Formula machines out here tonight. So some drivers are going to try and divide this race in half and take a couple laps to get the tires back up to temp and comfortable. And in the past, we've seen some drivers wait until the very end to minimize the time on cold tires. And historically, we always have a few drivers come down pit road very early, and that way they run the rest of the 21-odd laps out on the that set of tires and don't have to worry about tires being cold again.
Yeah, as we got Bianchi here staying out, it's interesting as he comes to pit road entrance. Is he going to stay out and try to make the pass on pit road and try to run these tires a little bit longer? As we'll see right here, he is going to stay out. I wonder if he's trying to do the overcut, which is a very hard move to pull off.
Yeah, that's a good point. Aguilar should, in theory, be able to do a little bit more fuel savings as opposed to that number 23 machine. He's got Elliott pushing the air ahead of him for it, but Norman, we had one of the newcomers unfortunately involved in an incident that resulted in a tow back down pit road. It's Christian Judkins, the number 75 machine. Oh, and man, that car snapped at the most inopportune time.
I wonder, I know with the Formula 3s here that you can get on those curbings and they can bottom your car out. And when they bottom the car out, the rear tires come off the ground. So you have no control, and then all of a sudden those tires touch and it snaps your car quickly.
Yeah, it seemed like that was the case, as unfortunately, I mean, we've seen that several times here tonight. As let's pan up a little bit further back, Jace Meyer and Derek Doppler having a battle for 7th. Meyer's up 9 spots, Doppler's up 3. Doppler, another one of those newcomers we talked about early on here tonight. Unfortunately, he just saw his teammate on the side of the track with a slightly destroyed race car. But really cool to see that. Oh, I got to pan back as Ray Aguilar is taking over 2nd.
Yeah, so got a good run out of the kink into the chicane, and was able to outbrake him on the inside there, and now he gets the run down the front straightaway. I don't think Elliott's got anything for him into turn 1.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how this one shapes up. Now, I wonder if Aguilar is going to try and stay out here and build up a little bit of gap if he thinks he has the pace, or is he going to be coming down pit road here shortly? Greg Brick, he's going to enter pit road, the number 7, as he was currently up 12 spots. But right now, that just leaves the top 5 drivers who have yet to box here in this feature event. And I have a sneaking suspicion they're going to be keeping an eye out on lap times and feeling out the tires before they make that decision to come down pit road.
Yeah, it looks like Ray got a little loose there coming out of the turn, but didn't hinder him too much. He's still half a second up here going through the hairpin. It's going to be interesting. I would hate to be sitting on his pit box trying to make this call. And Elliott's got the advantage here. It's if he pits, you stay out. If he stays out, you pit move right here.
Yeah, this is gonna be very interesting to see how the strategy comes into play. 10 laps left to go here in the feature event. Callaway up front, Aguilar 2nd, Cotti in 3rd. That is a mirror image of the finishing result from the sprint that we had just about 23 minutes ago. But here we go. Cotti gonna fire back here in the battle for 2nd, side by side. Does Aguilar take this opportunity? He's gonna stay out. No, Aguilar's down pit road.
And this is not an easy pit road to get onto. You have a lot of speed you're carrying to the braking point, and you've got to be on your game to hit your marks to get onto the pit road because you're accelerating to the pit road line.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting to see how this one pans out. So Nick Peterson's going to stay out for another lap. Let's see Antonio Bianchi also staying out. So that just leaves 4 drivers who have yet to box. Callaway really enjoying the clean air on the front as we try and get a camera angle pulled up here on Callaway. Started this feature event out in the top spot, has set the fastest lap of the race, and has led every lap so far here tonight. So Callaway looking for the clean sweep, but it's going to require a perfect pit stop as well. Even though Elliott is 6.5 seconds back, we've seen pit road problems really rear their heads in feature events here in the past at League Zero.
Here's you an interesting stat that I'm seeing. Ray with the fastest time on pit road with a 29.3. He was 800ths faster than anyone else, but he was one of the slowest pit stops on pit road.
I see that 7.18 seconds if I'm looking at that right in his pit stall. Callaway bouncing off the curbing a little bit here through the final chicane. Callaway's going to stay out on another lap here. I think he's feeling good. He wants to minimize the time he spends on those cold tires, but he does have a little bit of lap traffic. Arturo Mayorga ahead as Callaway just sets the fastest lap of the race once more at 136.264. Historically, I've seen Callaway wait until the very end of a race before maximizing the push-to-pass usage, so there's going to be even more left in the proverbial tank. As looks like Peterson also down pit road as well. Yeah.
And Elliott's here. We're going to see what time he takes him on pit lane. Very slow stop, a 7.9. He's going to be way slower than Ray on pit road with a 30.97, but still comes out in front of him. So a beater of an in lap is what's going to give Elliott the advantage over Ray, but he's on cold tires to the S's as Ray's going to try to attack.
Yeah, Aguilar's not going to give him any opportunities here to let those tires get up to temp smoothly. He's going to keep the pressure on that 23 machine before Elliott's car is in a good position to properly defend, but Elliott's doing everything he can to make that 23 machine 2-3 lanes wide as Aguilar trying to muscle the number 1 machine through every inside opening that he can find. And I don't know here. This is going to be pretty exciting as Aguilar is really on the gearbox of Elliott.
Yeah. I think he's going to have to attack out a spoon coming up here down the straightaway.
Still within less than 2/10. Aguilar all over the back gearbox of Elliott Conti. The battle for third. They're slowing the pace down a little bit, but they still know the top 2 drivers have yet to box here. Callaway and Bianchi. Bianchi has yet to cycle through, but showing up 19 positions. Here we go, side by side for third.
Looks like both on the push to pass. I think Elliott's going to have to concede here. It's very dangerous to go too wide through the kink, as he does. Now Ray needs a massive run here down the front straightaway to get off this turn cleanly to build that gap and not let the draft come into effect.
Yeah, Aguilar still on the push to pass to build up that advantage. He's 4/10 up, but looks like Conti's actually reeling him in here, and Elliott's not on the push to pass. So I think Aguilar, he was just burning the button and not able to get that breakaway, but it looks like Elliott pushes wide there. Aguilar's in a good spot.
That's a very hard thing to understand when it comes to racing. It shows a lot in IndyCar. The undercut sometimes doesn't work until a lap or two after when you get warm tires. And Ray shows how massive that advantage can be here tonight.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty fun to watch. Ray realized he had the opportunity, uses a little bit more of the push to pass to build up, and now he's got a second advantage over Elliott Conti. He might have been able to break the draft there of the 23, but now Elliott is going to be kind of on the back foot and has to make sure not to overdrive the car, overheat those tires, as your race leader, Jaden Callaway, is down pit road for his 1 scheduled stop. That's going to leave him 6 laps left to go here in the feature. I would imagine Bianchi would be coming in relatively soon as well, than a number 17 machine. And I'm curious to see how this is going to shape out, if there's going to be anybody else, or is it just going to be Aguilar and Conti battling for second and third, or we might see somebody else join us here in the top 3.
Yeah, I'm showing Antonio is not turning too good of laps right now either. So he needs to come in now, or he's going to lose massive time to the guys that have already pitted in front of him.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting.
As he made me eat my words as he runs his fastest lap of the race.
Attaboy, Antonio, staying out and clicks off that 136.91. That's about a half second or so slower than everybody else in the top 3, but still very consistent for Bianchi, and he's got to be overall very pleased with how he's running. I mean, he's up 19 spots. He still has to cycle through, but that's still, I think, going to put Bianchi in the top 5 if everything goes well on pit road.
Yeah, it looks like, let me get a reading on this real quick. With a 30-second pit stop, it looks like he's going to come out around 6.
Okay, so that'll leave him battling with maybe Peterson or Brick by the time that cycle's done.
Yeah, I think he's going to come out right behind Brick, but on fresher tires, get him warmed up, and attack with a few laps to go. But I think now he has to pit this lap.
Yeah, he does not want to lose off lap times, but yeah, it's a bit of a give and a take here. He's in a groove here. He's feeling very good. But if he doesn't pit now, he's going to be fighting with cold tires the last lap or two. And that might be the strategy for Aguilar, stretch it out, realizing this is where he's fastest during the run, and then see if he can just kind of muscle through the last lap. But that'll put him in a position as well. If he boxes very late, he will not have the tires underneath him to defend on the final lap. And it looks like Elliott Kottsi is reeled back in as he's on the push-to-pass tucked in behind Aguilar. And the battle for third continues as Elliott dives it in deep through turn 1.
Looks like Ray backed off there, playing the safe card. Looked like he could have squeezed him a little and tried to get the run off the turn, but not wanting to ruin both these guys' races tonight, just backs off and lets them have it and says, I'll attack you here towards the end of this race. Yeah. And it could be a last lap pass that decides the second place here.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly. He doesn't want to show his cards too early if he still has something against that number 23 machine. Elliott's not really able to get a big breakaway here like we saw from Aguilar the lap prior. Aguilar was able to build up a 1 second. Now, credit to Elliott. He was able to close that 1 second deficit, but I think both these drivers know they're going to be battling for the podium, knowing that Bianchi in second has yet to box. Bianchi still running very consistently up there, though. Lagging right around 2.5 seconds, 2.67-ish back from Callaway, so fairly on pace, but when these top 5 are separated by tenths of a second or less per lap, any single mistake can really bump you backwards on that leaderboard.
Yeah, Antonio has built the gap for the pit stop as it's at 30 seconds. It's going to be tight, but he has the gap. Now, if he can get on pit road right here, it looks like he's coming cleanly and get off cleanly. He can overtake. Oh, as he locks up coming onto pit road. Let's see if he was too fast or if he got it slowed down in time.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't get a penalty off that one. We love to see Bianchi back out on track as quickly as he can without incident. Kottsi and Aguilar are going to go side by side once more. Elliott making sure he sets himself up for the inside, but Aguilar going to try the long way around here as Aguilar fights back into second, and we've got a bit of a shootout here at Suzuka for the battle for second as Elliott and Aguilar really going at it.
Antonio did it. He was only on pit road for 29.6 seconds with one of the best stops of the night at 6.97 seconds in his stall.
Now, unfortunately, Bianchi's going to immediately throw that away behind his teammate Peterson. He comes back out on track, and I saw a very substantial off track for Bianchi, so this is the mark there a little bit. He came out within a second of Peterson, but with that big bobble, that's going to put him about 3 seconds back from the number 24 machine, and he's going to have to really fight here if he wants to get back to a fourth-place battle.
Yeah, he did win the battle for fifth, though, on pit lane.
Yeah, I mean, credit where credit is due. He absolutely nailed that and had the strategy down nice and perfect to put himself in that good position.
I'm not sure, I might have missed you when I was watching Antonio on pit road. Did you catch that Ray got back up into second?
Yeah, so these guys have been really going at it here. Aguilar actually made the long way around, making it happen through turns 1 and 2. We see him a little bit of a curb jump there. And while this battle's been going on, that has allowed Callaway to build up an 11-second gap here, round 3 of the Inca Salsa Super Formula Series. And here comes Elliott. He's going to fight right back against Aguilar.
There's Aguilar holding the outside. Now he's going to have the inside line and should have, a little bit too early of a turn in there, it looks like, for Ray, and it's going to have to surrender second place. I thought he had the run there. He should have opened that turn up a little bit more and pushed Elliott a little bit harder. But again, I go back to, it's still early in the season. No need to take us both out.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the call and the right call to be made. And he's still within striking distance, 4/10 off the back of Elliott's number 23 machine. So I think this is going to really pay down to the final couple of laps, but not a lot of time left. And maybe Aguilar's just putting himself in a good position, keeping the push to pass available to work that final corner draft pass here at the end.
Yeah, it's going to come in to a massive advantage to who has the most push to pass there at the end of this race. Definitely with some of these straightaways coming to the start-finish line that you get coming out of Spoon and then coming out of the chicane, that run to the finish line, we've seen it here in seasons past with guys making passes to the start-finish line, where I remember one where that McAllister got the 3-wide victory, and he was the third car in line entering the chicane.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly a great point. You just have to be in that position to put yourself in a good spot here at the end. Elliott trying to break the draft of Aguilar. Aguilar said, no, that's not going to happen here today. As they stay linked up nose to tail, I think that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Aguilar is just putting himself in a good position, knowing that second place is first place is going to be out of reach here, but the podium is far from decided here in second.
Yeah, and you also got to look at them. I wonder if their team principal is telling them team championship implications are in play with Fitzsimmons being out of this race.
Yeah, I mean, Fitzsimmons had that incident very early on. The number 16 machine, really just after the opening lap was completed. And going a little bit back, looks like Felipe Sarkis able to grab a spot against Michael Fairchild. Fairchild is going to come down pit road, a second stop of the evening. So I'm wondering if Fairchild has a bit of maybe some sort of drive-through penalty, and that's going to give Sarkis his 13th spot gained here.
Yeah, I do not have the incident on my screen. I'll have to change my screen up to make sure I have that. I do not know their limit, but if you do hit that incident limit, you will get a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, and it seems like that might be the case for Fairchild. The Avanti teammates running together once more is what Spring Flower says in the spectator area. Yeah, good to see so many consistent guys. Callaway down to a 136.17. Keep an eye out. I think historically, and I want to check, yes, Callaway is going to try and put down a heater here. As, oh no, we have another blink up here in the broadcast booth. Thankfully, we're coming back in here. Elliott just set the fastest lap of the race on 136.17, but he's on the push to pass, and I think this is where we're going to see Callaway try and set the fastest lap of the race here, Norman.
I agree. We saw him get down to the 135s. I think that's where he's going to go for again. We definitely have a Sector 1 fastest sector of the race, but it looks like he's struggling through Sector 2 as he puts down really not a good sector right there through 2 and 3, but pulls it back in Sector 4 with a purple.
This is going to be really fun to watch. This is historically where Callaway realizes, hey, the race is coming to a close. I've got all this push to pass available. Might as well use it all up here. So looking to see what Callaway can end up doing, as it actually is Derek Doppler. Look at that. The number 81 machine, a newcomer, late in the race, a 136.16, faster than Callaway by 1/100th of a second, but the newcomer has pace. Now he just kind of has to figure out how to string it all together throughout the championship, but that might be another contender we see at the end of this thing, Norman.
Yeah, but we get a 135.49 by Callaway here, and he had 2 bad sectors on that lap, so he has more pace. We could see him in the low 135s here on this final lap.
That's going to be spectacular to see. Callaway using up all that push to pass, make sure there's nothing left here at the end. He's got clean track ahead of him. This is where he's most happy, able just to hammer down and hold the throttle wide. And man, Callaway's so consistent every week. If he can avoid car-to-car contact throughout the opening race, the sprint race, and especially the opening 2 laps on the feature, he has been darn near unstoppable.
Through 3 sectors, 2 purples and a green. So he is on pace to beat his own lap, as we see that Ray has dropped out of contention for second. It'll be interesting to see what happened there. But the lap traffic might come into play here.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Let's pan back to Elliot Cotti in second, number 23. I see the lap. No, there's not going to be any lap traffic for these two. They're able to get through nice and easy. The checkered flag gets ready to unfurl, though, here at Suzuka as Callaway makes his way around the final couple of sections. What are you thinking, Norman? Are we going to see another purple lap here for Callaway?
By my timing chart, we got 3 purples now, and I think he's got it. I think we're going to see a 135.3 or 2.
Callaway crosses the line, picks up the back-to-back wins, a 134.98, but it's a dirty lap. He had an off track, and that is not going to technically count for the fastest lap of the race, but my goodness, is that fast.
Yes, and sometimes a fast lap is a little bit dirty. You know, unfortunately, we don't get to see those count, but I think they should count when you're not really pushing your incident limit that high.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a show of raw talent. Nick Peterson at the line is going to pick up 4th ahead of his teammate Bianchi. Greg Brick looks like he's going to bring home 6th, but all around, what a great race. We're going to try and get these top 3 drivers up to victory lane once more, but man, Callaway's just on a different level.
Yeah, that's a Max Verstappen level for this race, and it's going to be interesting to see if he can hold this pace throughout the year.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what is to come. We've got Callaway and Aguilar up here in the top 3. Have made their way to victory lane. Waiting on Elliot Cotti before we can get the interview celebration shenanigans started as Peterson and Bianchi going to have a little bit of fun here. The 2 teammates finishing 4th and 5th, and Greg Brick also gave a tip of the hat and wave out the window there for those drivers. And I think everybody's pretty pleased to have some very fast laps here at Suzuka and a great personal best for a whole lot of drivers.
Yeah, that's a huge points day for Avanti here as they claim 4th and 5th, and Fitzsimmons going out, that could be detrimental to Passport Motorsports.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out. Looks like our drivers are up here into victory lane, but we're going to start things off with Mr. Ray Aguilar. Join us in 3rd. Ray, good to have you back up here. A good points night for you and the team.
Yeah, went pretty good. Could have gone better. Had a mistake at the end. I ended up hitting my push to pass on accident, so I was caught in that recharge zone, and Elliot just dumped it all with the last 2 laps to go, so he got away from me. But fun night, fun racing. We had some good battles and taking home some good points. So I'm pretty pumped.
So as you say you had that mistake. If you didn't have that mistake, we noticed that your undercut worked very well on Elliott. Do you think you would have been able to hold him off, or do you think he had a little bit too much for you tonight?
Yeah, mistakes. I think so. I think I'd have been able to do it, but mistakes were kind of the name of the game tonight. On the lap I was trying to go in, he went for a pass in the last chicane. So I was trying to let him by, and he was trying to let me by. So we were both doing that, excuse me, after you, sir, thing, and slowed up a bunch. So we definitely over time lost Jaden. And then yeah, I don't know. I'm still not convinced on the undercut thing. I don't know how that works. Like, I'm not sure it's super powerful depending on which track we're on. So I got to do some more work, try to figure out, when the right time to come in is.
Yeah, I was looking at the time on pit lane, and you were about a half a second faster than him. So it almost was like an IndyCar undercut. I don't know how much of that you watch, but there is the warm tires that actually get the undercut to work.
Yeah. I think we definitely lose time on the outlap, right? And so if 2 cars just come in after another, usually the overcut is a little quicker because you're coming out and you haven't lost that lap of slow cold tire time. But if we had some better tires that would wear better in the sim, we could have some really good strategy battles. But I'm not a big fan of any of this stuff. I wish we didn't have to do any pit stops. I'd like to just drive and do the whole thing.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see when iRacing comes out with the pre-warm tires for the starts for y'all.
Yeah, that would be nice. Have they said they're doing that?
Yes, we don't know if we're getting it this release or next release, but they did say that it is coming for standing starts.
Yeah, I think that won't be as good for the broadcaster because there won't be as many explosions and like fire action scenes going on. But yeah, that'll definitely help for clean starts. We had a really clean start in the sprint. I'm really shocked. It was like the smoothest thing ever. I didn't see anybody crashing or anything.
Well, Ray, it's always a pleasure having you up here in the top three. As always, man, super cool to talk to you. Before we let you go, sign off and unwind from this one, who do you want to give a shout to that helps put you back in the top three?
My teammate Jaden for actually getting here. He had some trouble with getting to the track this week, and he figured it out and prioritized his teammates, and I'm super thankful for that because he brought home the win. And Squid Gang for helping me or for sponsoring me this year. And I also want to thank Antonio. He puts in a lot of hard work and keeps this train running, and we just love him. He's a great guy.
Well, awesome. Ray, always a pleasure, bud. Hopefully we'll have you back up here next week.
Yep. See you guys.
That was Ray Aguilar bringing it home in third. Up next, Elliot Cotti piloting the number 23 machine. Elliot, back-to-back podiums, a great run, able to salvage some points for the team, and great pace out there tonight.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good start. Managed to challenge Ray into the first corner, but then yeah, got stuck behind them. Got Ray eventually. Then I was thinking about catching up to Callaway, but yeah, it was just too quick. Nice little battle of Ray at the end for P2.
What do you have for Callaway in the upcoming races?
Next week nothing because I've got to skip that one. Then in the future, I mean, to be fair, I could have had the post today, but I don't know, not one of my strongest tracks, and had his teammate holding me up the whole race. So never know. See what we can do in the future.
Well, good luck to you in I guess 2 weeks from now in the upcoming race.
Yeah, we'll hopefully be up there.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you back out there, Elliot. Good to see a relative newcomer running so well, so clean out there. And before we let you go, sign off and celebrate. I know it's late over there in the UK, but who do you want to give a shout to that helps put you up here in second?
Oh, I had teammate Finley spotting me, being my engineer for the last few laps of the race after we crashed. So that was helpful. Then obviously the man himself, Salvador, gets a shout out.
Always for Salvador. Elliot, always a pleasure, buddy, and hopefully we'll have you back up here in a couple weeks. We can return here to League Zero.
All right, cheers. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir. That was Elliot Cotti bringing it home in a second. But up next, the man, the myth, the legend, Jaden Callaway, back-to-back. And don't think we didn't see that high 134 there at the end.
Yeah, I was pushing it. Unfortunately, I got an off-track exiting spoon, so it didn't count, but it was a good lap.
Callaway, do you feel like this race is going to help you get back in this championship battle, or do you think the missing last week is going to be more of a challenge than you need?
I'm pretty sure last week is going to be dropped, so that should even out the points, but I'm more concerned just about the team championship right now than drivers championship.
Well, your team did excellent tonight with a double podium in both races, so y'all should be very strong as it comes to the end of the season.
Yeah, I was looking at the points here, Jane. I mean, coming into tonight, you guys were 5 points back from Passport coming into the team standing. So, I mean, tonight with you and Aguilar running so consistently, back-to-back podiums and back-to-back wins for the 37, I would be shocked to see Squid Gang not taking over the team championship, leaving here at Suzuka.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great night for us. Double podium. I got the double win, so should be a really good points haul.
Jaden, good to see things kind of swinging back in your favor. Good to see that 37 machine back out on track and dominant once more. Always putting in the seat time leading up to these Thursday night events. And tonight, my friend, you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps make the back-to-back happen for you?
I'm going to shout out Felipe, of course. I'm going to shout out my team, Squid Gang Racing and Ray. And I'm going to shout out you and the guys at Team Goon Squad.
Awesome. Jaden, always a pleasure, bud. Good to have you back, and hopefully we'll have you up here next week as well.
Thanks, James.
Well, Norman, that was always a well-spoken Jaden Callaway. So fast and so humble whenever he gets up here in the booth. Another dominant performance for that 37.
Yes, I was flabbergasted by how well he drove tonight, and just congratulations to him and a well-deserved double victory here tonight in Suzuka, and we'll see if he can continue it on in weeks to come.
Awesome. Always a pleasure having you up here, Norman. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting and LeagueZero.net, my name has been James East. Thank you all so much for spending your Thursday night with us, and we'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.